Well, continuing in the bunker is Pat Fiacco, who the man of many talents and many titles. Today, just a good speaker. Kevin Holness joins us, technical director of FC Regina. And Kevin is a guy that's been beating the drum in the soccer world around here for years and years and years. You're like the face of it. And don't, Kevin, be humble. I've read all those news releases. Your name's at the bottom of all of them. You're Joe Soccer. And I knew with all these kids playing soccer in this town, in this province, that before long, soccer is going to become front page material. And it's here. When you say, Pat, that time is here.
Absolutely, with all the newcomers coming to
that too,
Saskatchewan,
everything.
I mean, that's their first sport. So Kevin, I know Kevin's got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, you got a lot to talk about, Kevin. So pull that microphone right in there. And there's so many things we could go, but I think where we're going to start is the big soccer game coming in Saskatoon in August. Want to start there?
Huge.
Let's talk about that.
I think Joel's done a terrific job introducing the province of Saskatchewan to pro-level soccer. We always talk about destiny and opportunities for youth players. I know as a kid growing up in Saskatchewan, it was a struggle to find opportunities to play at the next level. And this provides that environment and gives kids that platform to, hey, it's right here in our backyard, man, but what other kind of motivation would you need?
Yeah, and we've got university girls soccer players that are now playing pro on this summer club team. You're aware of everything,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
The women's league that's right across North America. And Pat, you jump in anytime, but the CPL, the Canadian Premier League, Kevin, is really all around us. Calgary's got a team, Winnipeg, right? Edmonton. Ottawa, Edmonton. Yeah. We're the glaring gap, as always, in this country for soccer, but I don't think that's going to be the way for long.
I hope not, and I think the time is now. We've been beating the drum for several years when the former Canadian Soccer League folded, and in order for our players to compete at the international stage and the professional ranks, we need a homegrown soccer professional league here in Canada, whether it be men's or women's. We have to go that route.
And Pat, you're just sitting there nodding your head like a bobblehead. You were the one years ago when we got our new stadium saying this needs to be a tenant, right?
100%. I mean, that's what the facility is built for.
Yeah.
And there's no reason why we can't accommodate it. And you're right, in regards to having a professional team here, there's no reason why we can't be a home to a professional soccer team. First of all, I think there's a market for it. I think the community is looking for that, and we already have the infrastructure in place for it, so I don't know why we wouldn't go ahead.
But Kevin, you've been in Saskatchewan soccer for so long. I talked about the kids playing, the kids raised here, but the new Canadians too. It's the world's game, right?
Absolutely.
So how much is that brought up
that
there?
Adds an enormous factor to it, that it's a multicultural sport, and across the nation with the new residents into Regina, you just see at a young age right now, we're experiencing that type of cross-cultural impact into our club, and a lot of different ethnicities joining soccer and playing at a youth club level can only transfer onto a pro atmosphere. And I think, again, it's more than needed in this country, and to have it in our backyard would be tremendous.
So talk about the SAS Summer Soccer Series and the game coming to SMF Field August 11th.
This is the second of three. They've just announced another date in August, and I think it would be something for everyone to take the time and experience. If you didn't experience the first game, and you're missing out. It's going to be a lot of action and entertainment and some fantastic soccer. You're going to see the next up-and-coming superstars out of Vancouver Whitecaps from their academy, and some homegrown talent that people will be impressed with.
Toronto FC 2 is providing the opposition there. What can you tell me about that soccer club? So that's like a affiliate club too?
Toronto FC is in the Major League Soccer.
So but I thought it was like their second team. I'm sorry.
This is their second team that
right.
is now going to be playing against our summer selects
right.
in August. So it's a branch of the TFC Academy, and you'll see younger kids and some up-and-coming talent as well.
That was my question. The big club's not coming to play. It's the development squad, basically,
Absolutely.
would be what it is.
Absolutely.
And some of the Saskatchewan selects, where is this? Who's comprising this club?
It's players from all over the province. We have players that have grown up in Regina. Majority of the players are from Saskatoon at Penn University there and have made their home in Saskatoon. But you'll see a variety of athletes from across the province. Yeah.
Pat, you jump in any time.
I got a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think everyone watched the Women's World Cup. Amazing talent. All the teams were absolutely incredible. I'm not joking when I ask this question. The difference between watching the women play Women's World Cup and the Men's World Cup, and men's professional soccer in general. I mean, those women went hard. They played so hard. And when there was any contact and one of them went down, they got back up again real quick. Why can't the men do that? Because we know that 90% of the time they're not hurt. They're really milking it for as much as they can. Is that just the culture of that soccer, or why the difference?
You know, I'm not a fan of the diving and the flopping, but you have certain countries and cultures that use that as a strategy in order to kind of get under the skin of the opposition and maybe convey the referee into thinking it's more than it is, and warn players and give players cards, which puts them at a very vulnerable state in how aggressive they're going to play moving on. But you're right, and the women's game is presenting itself at a higher standard. The game is continuous. It's a lot of back and forth action, where in the men you tend to see a lot of chess playing. It's slower and it's more tactical, and a lot of the games, I will go on record and say they're sleepers, right? You watch some of those men's teams, and entertainment is what people are going to attract to. And if we can provide a strong entertainment value on the field, man, this game will grow tremendously in Canada.
What about the video replay?
Man,
I'm glad that the video replay is there.
I agree. I'm 50-50. The duration that it takes to make the decision is what I'm bothered with, because you have a lot of technical staff behind the scenes that could be reviewing it very quickly, and by the time the referee gets that message in his ear and whatnot, the decision should be made and we move on. I don't like the idea of leaving the field and having to review an action, having everybody wait. There could be some nice momentum going on in the field, and now this kind of ends that momentum. So I'm still undecided about the whole VAR and whatnot.
The reason why I like it, because it could change the result.
Absolutely. But human error, is that something that is attractive to people?
Some of those flops were caught on video review. The call would be changed very fast.
Absolutely.
Guys, I invite you to throw on your headphones, because we got Joe Belan with us. He's from the host committee of the Saskatchewan Summer Soccer Series. And obviously, Joe, you've been listening to the conversation here between the guys, Kevin Holness and Pat Fiacco, and we're talking about the game just announced Sunday, August 11th, Toronto FC 2 versus the Saskatchewan Selects. And how excited are you to be bringing this game to Saskatoon?
We're super excited. This is ultimately the culmination of a 3-game series. We've got our next game coming up on Thursday, which is also going to be a very challenging match against the Vancouver Whitecaps under 23s this Thursday at SMF Field in Saskatoon. And then, as I said in previous discussions, we're just trying to increase the profile and intensity of this tournament, our series, to give an opportunity to young players in Saskatchewan to face some professional competition.
I would suggest that SMF Field will be full. I mean, this is kind of the first of its kind. Is it not? I mean, what kind of reaction are you expecting?
Well, we had a great first event in early May. We had Calgary Foothills come to town, and we had over 3,000 spectators for that first match. We're hoping to exceed that this time. I think we have a few things in our favor this time around, in that the weather is going to be a lot better. Forecast is looking pretty good for next Thursday, which I think plays into people's decision in terms of going to the game. And I think people are starting to see some excitement around the prospects of pro soccer ultimately coming to Saskatchewan.
Well, I was going to ask you, we got questions coming in from the Facebook wall, but let me ask you this. The difference between CPL versus an MLS team, does that cause a little more sizzle with the ticket buying public and even the kids, the young soccer players that want to come? I'm just saying Toronto, the opponent here in August versus Calgary in May.
Well, we would have loved to have someone like Valor out of Winnipeg, CPL. Unfortunately, we've talked to a number of the CPL teams. Scheduling just didn't work, unfortunately, for the series. We were very fortunate to get some of the MLS teams to come to Saskatchewan, so we're very grateful for that. But the quality of competition that these boys from Saskatchewan are going to face is a higher degree than they've ever seen. So I think we're very pleased with the fact that we were able to get those types of competition teams to come and play.
So we have a question from Dan Heimbecker on the Facebook wall. Do you think Saskatchewan could support an MLS team? Is that on the horizon? I know there's a movement afoot to get pro soccer here. I'll lob that to you. Where are you guys at? What are we shooting for here?
Yeah, we're really shooting for Canadian Premier League. I think that's more realistic. I don't think MLS has any plans to expand in Canada beyond the 3 existing teams. And I think the market dynamics in Saskatchewan really lead themselves to being the Canadian Premier League at some point in the future.
What do our viewers and listeners need to know, Joe, about this series and how they can support it and get tickets?
Well, there's really 2 fundamental objectives with the series. Number one is to set a foundation for building a pro team. So we're starting to hire people. We're starting to expand. We're bringing in additional players to increase the quality of the team. So I think the wheels are in motion is the message I would say. But we really want to go deep in and make this feel like it's almost like a religion for people, that they can congregate around it. It's something that unifies people. It's a wonderful game. That's why they call it the game. And I think it would be wonderful if we could have something like this in Saskatchewan for people to come out and support.
All right, Joe, I appreciate the time. Good luck with it, and I appreciate your efforts in promoting it, and we'll do it again here leading up to the game. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, Joe Belan joining us on video chat this morning live here in hour 2 of the program. Kevin Holness and Pat Fiacco staying with me in the bunker. So Kevin, how does this marry in with what you're doing with FC Regina?
Well, again, going back to my early statement, it provides a opportunity, provides a destiny for kids in Canada and players in our province. It's been a while since you can open the paper and look at ways for you to grow as an athlete and play at the professional stage. This will be another open door for us to try and push kids through.
It marries into, Pat, your philosophy of you shouldn't have to leave Saskatchewan to pursue your dreams, right?
Absolutely not. And I think, again, it's creating that culture that we have everything here and it can be here. It's not preventing anybody from leaving if that's the next step. But it's got to start somewhere. And you shouldn't have to leave somewhere to start something. You should be able to start it here. And I'm really glad that Kevin is as passionate as he is about this and has been really carrying the torch for soccer in this community for a long
time. An absolute long time.
And getting the results. Is
it exciting, Kevin, to see it kind of?
It is, and we've had a lot of great support. Pat has been a huge advocate of pushing the game, and I love the phrase he uses when it's culture. We have to make it a culture. The Saskatchewan Roughriders is a culture. The Pats is a culture. To have a professional soccer team, semi-pro, or even the women's idea here with Queen City, if it becomes a culture, it'll attract others, and that becomes a trend, and then you have momentum. We grew up in an environment in Regina when I was a young kid, and everybody hung out at Mount Pleasant Sport Park because it was the Germans versus the Italians versus the Greeks, and there were fights, and police were there, and people were.
But it was fun,
and it was amazing. You never missed a weekend,
fun fights,
yeah.
right? And it was just something where you knew every weekend these people were going to congregate at that field.
Yeah. Well, one last thing, because Clark's telling me to break, but Pat, I think we see it the same way. You always said when you were mayor, we want to work together with Saskatoon, and your counterpart up there wasn't always of the same mindset. But now, if the pro soccer team is in Saskatoon, I don't have a problem with it at all. That's kind of the way that it's going. We got the Rattlers asking us to come up to their games. You've got the Rush saying the exact same thing. I want as many or more viewers and listeners in Saskatoon than I do in Regina, and you've always, Pat, been on that train.
We're not big enough to be fighting with each other. We're only 2 hours away by car, and both cities have so much to offer. Not only the two cities. Let's not forget about Moose Jaw, PA, Estevan. We got a lot of communities that support the entire province, and but the two cities do need to. We're not in a competition. We're not in a competition at all, and I think this culture of of sport. What we should be striving to be is a culture of sports and excellence. And if we can do that, then we can do anything. And again, I support anything that happens when it comes to ensuring that we are creating opportunities for our young people in this province, whether it's in Saskatoon, Regina, or anywhere in this province.
Sports or otherwise, but sports just happens to be what we do. So,
absolutely.
Guys, we're going to go to Montreal next and check in with Eskimos broadcaster Dave Campbell. But this has been so much fun. Kevin, you don't be a stranger. Pat, I know you won't.
Thank you for having us.
So, yeah, you bet.
Thank you
Great
for
job.
having me.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.